Hello and welcome to Industry Today, the podcast powered by NTC Events. Today I'm joined by Nathan Sweeney, Microsoft AI lead for KPMG UK, who is going to be sharing his expert insights and views on all things AI and specifically AI agents. Welcome to the podcast, Nathan.
Lovely to be here.
So let's jump in and address the elephant in the room. When people think about AI in the context of manufacturing, the first thought is how will it impact the workforce? How do you address that concern and how should we be reframing it?
Completely valid question. So the most interesting thing over the last 20 odd years was the introduction of, say, Microsoft Excel, for example. When that first came out, there was a load of financial people that turned around and said, this is going to take our jobs, it's going to completely change the way that we work, and it's going to really impact our jobs and our lives. And whilst in a way it has, it's kind of improved because we can do things faster, we can do things more efficiently, and it's helped facilitate the way that we look at our data in different ways. So the same will apply to AI. It's a tool to be used to help facilitate you as an individual and also you as an organisation as well, to help increase your productivity, increase wellness within the people that work for you, and also kind of help you contextualize things perhaps in a different way and help with ideas when it comes to manufacturing and creating new products and services, and perhaps different ways of interacting with the technology that's around you and the landscape around you.
So it's more about evolving the workforce rather than eliminating the workforce.
Absolutely. So it's about taking you as an individual and saying, right, here's all the mundane things that I do, or I've got a 50-page document that I need to review. Can I use AI to do those things for me and to help me be more efficient so I don't have to not waste my time, because that's not the right terminology, but it's making me more efficient to say, well, I don't need to read a 50-page document. I can get some insights by using AI to do that for me and give me those insights quicker, especially if you're an exec, for example, and you've got a 50-page document. You may want to just write a quick little prompt that says, review this document for me, give me an executive summary, and then I can look at that to gauge my insights a lot faster than what I used to be able to do. And also I don't need to give it to somebody else to help contextualise and have their views on it.
Yeah.
They're my views and I need to make that decision.
So better using people's skills and the skills that people have honed and learned over years and years.
Absolutely.
Actually, everyone's time is precious. Everyone's really busy, but AI can help with that.
Absolutely. So time is something that you can never, ever get back.
Yeah.
So the moment that you've used an hour, you're never going to be able to get that back no matter what you do. So actually, if you can use a piece of technology that's going to save you 58 minutes of that hour, why not use it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you shared a couple of nice examples there. Have you got any others you can share from a kind of wider business perspective, and then also a user, a shop floor perspective where AI has helped with that?
Absolutely. So from a wider business perspective, what we're doing is we're working with large organisations to help fundamentally transform the way that they interact primarily with their data so they can make more informed decisions and be more contextually aware of decisions, of data maybe, should I say, that they didn't have insights to before. So it's about taking what you have and making the most use of it. From an organisation perspective.
Yeah.
From an individual point of view, again, it's coming back to that one of saying, well, let's say you're on the manufacturing floor, you've got a form that needs to be filled out and it's a paper-based form. Why not digitise that? And then immediately that gets sent through so you don't then have to go and give that to somebody else to then do another piece of work. It's on the form, it's done, and it's sent straight away.
Yeah.
So you've got a tablet, we've all got tablets, and then you can create a form which will then interact and go and send off and do other things for you based on what you've put in for that form.
So some of these things aren't super complex. It's just getting people to understand how it applies to them and their business and how they can find the benefits that apply rather than just diving straight in and thinking, I need AI in my business, what do I do?
Absolutely. And it's about kind of being contextually aware of where you want to implement AI as well and being conscious of that.
Yeah.
And once you start doing that, you start to see the benefits of it and saying, okay, well, actually, these are the benefits of me doing this. And, it's going to surface things that you may not necessarily want it to initially. So you need to do your due diligence, of course, especially when it comes to data and the way that AI works by indexing your data. You need to be aware of what that's going to surface. So hence the reason for the first thing of you need to sort your data out.
Yeah.
But once you have, you can then start surfacing that data in specific areas so that AI can make the most use of it and bring the data where it's needed rather than just having data and trying to use it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And how do businesses start that journey?
Oh, good question. So normally it starts with, first of all, the strategy of the business to say, right, we want to have some form of AI technology in the business. We don't quite know where yet, but we know in order to adopt this technology, we have to do certain things. So, such as setting up a centre of excellence to say, well, if we're going to adopt this, we need to adopt this in the correct way for our business, because every business is different. There are commonalities, but there are massive differences as well, the way they operate. Then it's how do I then, again, come to that data point of saying, what do I do with my data sets? What does my estate look like? So that initial kind of review of everything to say, well, where is everything? What does it look like? What kind of shape is it? And honestly asking yourself and looking in the mirror, where am I on that maturity journey when it comes to AI? And the first part of that is going to be doing that assessment, saying, well, I'm on this maturity level 1, for example. And part of that is I'm going through this review of my estate, and these are the kind of use cases that I'm starting to see and resonate. And these are the ones that I now want to go with because they're going to be high impact, they're going to give me good returns, and it will make a difference to my business.
There's a lot of terminology out there in the world of AI, and something people may hear about in the context of AI is deterministic versus non-deterministic systems. Can you explain what that means in practical terms?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So a non-deterministic system is where you install, say, a piece of software, and you then have a process to access that software through whatever mechanism your IT help desk may have. Once you've then got access, you then put a load of inputs into that software. It then gives you an output.
Okay.
You can validate that output. Let's say it's numeric, 1 and 1 equals 2.
Yeah.
However, a non-deterministic software, for example, is where you ask it a question and it gives you an answer at that time based on the information it has access to at that time. However, if you ask the same question 5 minutes later and it's got access to different data, it may give you a different response.
Okay.
So there's a lot of questions coming out about how do you look at those systems and how do you control those systems, where you may have the same process in front of it, but the output is always going to be different. And that leads on to things such as continual testing within organisations to say, well, actually, am I getting the right outputs for what's needed, what I've inputted this for? And how do I continually do that over a long period of time? So you may put the software in and go, right, okay, that's awesome. It's giving me responses, I'm getting answers. But actually, what are you doing in the back to say, well, are they giving you consistent answers that reflect what you want those answers to be?
You mentioned human in the loop concept. How important is that in building trust and reliability within these technologies? That must be a concern for businesses, for clients that you work with.
Absolutely. So there's two parts to answer that question, really. There's first of all the human side of it, and then there's the infrastructure side of it. So the human in the loop, as I mentioned earlier, is effectively you having some form of process which uses generative AI to produce something, an output, and that output needs to be validated by a human before it goes out, especially if it's public facing, because you may not want it to contain certain words, you may want it to have a particular message, and if it doesn't contain those, you may want to put it back through that system to give a different output. Again, it comes back to that non-deterministic question of getting an output and then validating it through the human being part of that. And so humans are integral to the use of this technology. The other part is around infrastructure. So we get a lot of questions around, well, where do I put all this stuff? Where's it located? And obviously we use cloud technology to make the most use of all this technology. and that is how if you've done any kind of cloud activity or cloud work before, or you use cloud systems, we use the same technology for these. Now, there's different ways and methods that you can use that technology, but all those principles around cloud technology, around security, scalability, reliability, are all built into that, which all form part of the trusted framework that is there by Microsoft.
And have you got any real-world examples where agent-based systems have improved manufacturing processes by augmenting the workforce?
Well, AI has been around for many, many years in manufacturing. So the analogy I like to use is the classification of tomatoes.
Okay.
So if you work on a farm, for example, and there's machines on those farms as it goes into a production line which classify, I can't remember if a tomato is a fruit or a vegetable, but it's one of those that it classifies the tomato so that it goes off to different locations, different suppliers, and so on. And that uses machine learning in the background to do that. Mm-hmm. So actually automation and machine learning, which is part of AI, has been around for many, many years in manufacturing already.
Yeah.
And all we're now doing is we're seeing what are known as large language models under the term of AI, which it is a form of AI, come to the front and be integrated into our systems that we see, like Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, and so on.
Yeah. So you mentioned data right at the start of the conversation and how important it is to organisations looking to implement AI. What kind of data infrastructure or culture is needed to start thinking about AI agent implementation, particularly in a manufacturing context?
So AI in general needs to be thought of as a tool for a business to use, just like Excel, as I mentioned earlier. So you can use that tool in any way that you want to. And normally what I find is that's the difficult part. So you've got to go and experiment.
Yeah.
You've got to go and say, right, okay, well, can we improve that process by putting this in place? And what does that look like? So being able to then turn around and say, we've done this, it looks really cool, but actually is it going to do what I want it to do? Probably will. Mm-hmm. But you've got to think perhaps slightly differently to a normal traditional system that you're used to. Okay. So you've got to think about the workflow, the process that somebody follows to do something, or that part of the business, whatever it may be. And going back to that data question right at the start, it's key that you surface the right data at the right time for the AI systems to make the best use of it. Mm-hmm. So if your data's not very good, you're not going to get a good output.
Yeah.
So the better quality your data is at the start, the better the output will be for you and your business.
And do you see that as the starting point for businesses when it comes to them dipping their toes into implementing agent-based systems? Data has to be at the absolute forefront of what they're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely right. Key to the success of the outputs that the AI will give. And from an end user productivity perspective as well, it's great. I use it pretty much every day now, and it helps me reword emails that I'm sending out to people. It helps me put presentations together. It was, I think Satya Nadella said that, you never got a blank piece of paper anymore because you can write a prompt and get some ideas and get the creativity juices going.
Just starts things going, yeah.
Absolutely. So there's nothing there to stop you from using this technology. So absolutely should be using this technology as a tool to help you with your daily life and your work, and outside of that as well. My other half's just got a new phone which has got AI built into it now, and she's already started to use it straight away. Yeah. And from a business context perspective, is going through those processes that you have and saying, well, where can we make the most use of this? And that's the key. So experimentation, right? Yeah. Go and play with the technology and go and use it. It's there for a reason.
Do you find that that's where people are nervous? It's just making that initial first move of just trying something.
Absolutely right. But when you do, you're like, oh, okay, this isn't as scary as I thought it would be. And there are limitations to the technology, as there is with any. So you've got to use the technology in the way that works for you and your business.
Yeah, of course. So kind of bigger picture, how do you see AI agents evolving in the short, medium and longer term?
Oh,
big question.
Let me get my 8 ball out. Right? It's a good question. I think what we're going to see is we're going to see more around agents being implemented into businesses and business infrastructure. What I am seeing a lot of is back-end infrastructure being augmented to use agents to make it more efficient. And actually, we're seeing a lot of businesses experiment with that. and say, right, okay, can I use it here? What would that look like if I did that? So here's a bit of data. What can we do with it? What are the possibilities?
Yeah.
They're also looking at things like customer experience. How can I help the people that are helping with my customers be more engaging with them? Can I give them more information as they're talking to them in real time to help those customers?
Yeah.
And it's about increasing customer satisfaction
Yeah.
all the way through it, and operational efficiency as well.
So finally, what's the one thing that you think manufacturers should start planning for today when it comes to AI?
Data. I'm sorry, I know I mentioned it. You could have wrote it down, right?
Yeah.
But it's going to be data. It is key.
Yeah.
It's absolutely key to the success of the implementation of AI technology.
Perfect. Thank you. Hopefully there's lots of food for thought there, some really valuable insights into AI and AI agents, and hopefully it will help people start to think a bit differently about AI and be willing to maybe embrace it more and be a bit more confident to trial it and see where it goes. So thank you for joining us today, Nathan. It's really great to have you.
Thank you.
Don't forget, you can find out more about the Industry Today podcast by visiting mtcevents.co.uk or by searching Industry Today wherever you watch or listen to your podcasts. Thank you for joining us.